everyone, and welcome to this video. My name's Gaynor and I'm from FitFish. So tonight I wanted to share with you 5 top tips to change your habits next year. Now, whatever you feel about New Year's resolutions, whether you like them, hate them, whether they've worked for you or not in the past, the new year and heading into that new year is an excellent time to reset your priorities and to reboot, refresh, be inspired and driven and motivated to make some changes. So whatever you think about resolutions, there's no doubt that this time of year can be an ideal chance to make the most of that kind of season of people wanting to make changes. So in this short video, I'm just going to share 5 top tips to help you change your habits next year. And of course, we're not just going into a new year, we're going into a new decade, which is really exciting. And think of what potential there is for you in this next decade. Maybe have a look back over the last decade and see everything you overcame and all the things you've been through and how much you've changed and how much you've grown closer to God, how much you've met some of your goals, and think what can be achieved over this next 10 years. So I'm just going to share 5 top tips to get you started. So I would say my first tip is use the way you feel at this time of year as fuel. So Christmas and Twixmas, which I've only really become aware of this year, I don't know if it's a new thing. And so that Twixmas, that time between Christmas and New Year and kind of New Year's Eve and everything, it can be a time where you can feel bloated, lethargic, frustrated, blobby, inactive, and just kind of longing for some kind of normality again. You kind of really enjoyed yourself, but you might be feeling a bit guilty or frustrated that you overate and just maybe just can't wait for things to get back to normal a little bit. So use how you feel now as an inspiration for the changes that you want to make and use it to your advantage. So use those feelings as fuel for the changes you want to make. If you know by now, what are we now, 30th of December, that actually eating party food, sitting around, being more lethargic than normal and maybe drinking a little bit too much hasn't made you feel great, then brilliant, because that can really fuel the changes that you want to make. So that's my first tip, is use how you feel now as fuel to make changes, because we can obviously reverse everything that we've done over the last few days. My second tip is to have a spirit of gratefulness. So rather than seeing things as, oh, I can't do that, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to give up that, see it as things you can do and things that we get to do. So no one is forcing us to make any changes. It's things we get to do for the benefit of our own health. So it's time to be grateful. If we can go out for a walk or a run or do some exercise at home or go to the gym, it's time to have a spirit of gratefulness about the things we can do and the things that we get to do. So try and be positive around the changes that you're going to make. So instead of taking things away and saying, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do that, say, brilliant, I get to go out for a walk and enjoy this beautiful country for at least 10 minutes a day. Or I get to go to the gym. I've got the time to do it and I've got the money to do it. I get to look at what goes into my body. I get to spend time with God. Have a spirit of gratefulness and remember all the things we get to do. Isn't that exciting? We choose and we get to do these things. So don't see it as a negative. And my third tip is small steps, not giant leaps. So small steps are going to be far more successful in you reaching the end of 2020 and looking back and thinking, wow, I made some changes and I changed some habits. Whereas if you go for kind of this big effort in January, then what happens a lot of the time is you crash and burn, and by the time you get to December 2020, you're going to be thinking, oh yeah, I think I did set a few goals, but I don't know what happened. So when man landed on the moon, it was that last step that got him to the goal of landing on the moon, but think how much had gone on before that. It wasn't just that he leapt from his sofa up to the moon. That didn't happen. There was loads and loads of steps before then, and that's the same for us. So pick where you want to go, where you want to get to, and work backwards and just break it down and take some small steps. So don't make these dramatic changes overnight, but just make some steps towards your goal. Tip 4, tell your brain that it's good to repeat certain actions. So how do we do this? Well, in order for our brain to think that it's a good thing to repeat something, it needs to feel positive about it, needs to feel rewarded, it needs to know that it's good for us. So try and make sure that you measure progress and you reward yourself. So this can come in a whole variety of different ways. So this could be, actually, I'm going to make myself a reward chart. I'm going to treat myself to a coffee in a coffee shop if I reach all my goals in 1 week. I'm going to take a picture of myself in the mirror every 2 months and, see the progress. I'm going to take measurements. I'm going to try on this pair of jeans now that's really, really tight. I'm going to see how I go. I'm going to tell a friend what I'm doing and she can check up on me. So make sure your brain is getting some signals that what you're doing is working. So don't set yourself a goal that actually you won't get any results for a good few months. Make sure that your goals include little steps that you'll see a great deal of progress, and choose something that works for you and something that's going to be encouraging if you stick to what you say you want to do. Number 5, give yourself the gift of the path of least resistance. So essentially this means make sure that your environment works for you. It might be that you feel a bit like I do at the moment, is that you just want to get rid of any party food, anything in the house that isn't part of your normal healthy lifestyle, or you just want to get rid of some alcohol, or you want to get straight back into your routine and your pattern. So whatever is most helpful for you to keep you going or to start new habits, and have a little think about it. So it could mean that you actually invest some time or some money in making the environment better. So for example, you might not feel that brilliant in your exercise clothes and you're not excited to kind of get dressed in them, you feel embarrassed or you just don't feel comfortable. Well, is it time to save up a little bit and buy yourself something that you feel good and comfortable in, that's going to make you more likely to want to put it on? Or is it get rid of those chocolates in the cupboards and give them away, put them in the freezer? Even throwing them away, I don't want to encourage waste, but it's also wasted if you just eat it for the sake of it. Could it be leaving your Bible by your bed just to make it easier to read your Bible, and leaving your phone downstairs so there isn't as much resistance to come across before you actually pick up your Bible and read it? There's a clear path. Could you leave your trainers by the door? Could you have your swimming bag already packed? Could you declutter a little bit so you just feel that you've got a clearer path to go down? Whatever it means for you, create yourself a path of the least resistance. So just a reminder really then of those 5 points. Use the way you feel now. So I'm sure a lot of you can relate to kind of feeling a little bit blobby, a little bit frustrated, a little bit bloated, maybe a little bit disappointed with yourself, but just use that as a positive. Use that to fuel the way you feel, to fuel the steps you're going to take now. If you've recognized that actually sugar doesn't do you any favors, excess alcohol doesn't do you any favors, and sitting around watching telly doesn't do you any favors, then use that as positive fuel to fuel your actions. Number 2, have a spirit of gratefulness. Think of all the things we get to do with our lives and with our bodies. Be grateful that you can go for a walk. Be grateful that you can afford to swim or go to the gym. Be grateful that you can go out for a jog. Be grateful you get time to read your Bible. Think of all those positive things you can do, and try not to be like, right, I'm not going to eat wheat, I'm not going to eat chocolate, I'm not going to eat sweets, because it just doesn't work. Number 3, small steps, not big leaps. So don't set yourself like massive goals and challenges and then end of January you've forgotten about them. Think of where you want to be at the end of the year and then work backwards and put some small steps in. Number 4, let your brain know that it wants to repeat the habit, repeat the behavior by rewarding yourself, rewarding success, sending those positive signals to your brain so that you want to repeat the action. And the last one was give yourself the path of the least resistance. Make things as easy as possible for you. Don't self-sabotage yourself by making things difficult. Think how you could make this easier for yourself, and maybe it will be a case of investing a little bit of time in clearing some space, a little bit of money, maybe invested in some new gear, some new trainers. What does that mean for you? So I hope those points have been useful. I'd love it if you could give a like or a comment, maybe comment on something that particularly spoke to you. I would love for you to join me on the next Healthy, Whole and Free course, which is a 12-week online program where you get teaching calls from me every week, daily Bible verses, and a great community support network, loads of videos and a whole portal of information. And I'd love to take you on the journey to freedom in this area. And if you're interested in that, I'll pop it into the comments box, but it's bit.ly/HW F2020. So all that's left is for me to say thank you for being part of FitFish, whether that's just watching videos like this, reading some of the blog posts, or whether it's being on our retreats or on one of our programs. Thank you for being part of FitFish and part of the FitFish community in 2019. And as we move into the next decade, I can't wait to support you all and help you more and get to know you better. So happy New Year, everybody, and take care and see you soon. Bye.